Now, we go on to the next session for something very unusual. Many of us have got experience in different ways of health visiting. I've had the privilege of working with some absolutely outstanding health visitors from whom I have learned a huge amount, particularly about home visiting. And many of us in the room are mothers and will have had personal experience of health visiting with your babies. But we're now going to hear from a male health visitor who is in a very strong minority, of course, in his profession. And moreover, Mr. Adgopul is in fact the only Asian male health visitor in the United Kingdom. So here we have somebody who has really broken the mold. And moreover, he's going to talk to us on inspiration.
Quite often they could get lost in the system, and by doing that, whatever injury or ailment they have gets a lot worse. At the end of the day, their quality of life gets pretty bad.
I kept insisting that I'm ill and I should be seen by a doctor. At the end they said, well, just go to a walk-in. I said, what is a walk-in? The walk-in is not something that I'm familiar with back home.
It's going to have a real impact on people coming to the UK because they can access the right care.
You know, they're in a situation they don't want to be in. They don't actually want to be here most, and they want to be in their own country. So if we can help level it out for them, they've got a chance of their healthcare being improved, register for jobs, help learn new skills and actually become part of society as well.
Right. My name is Raj, and I'm going to talk about this app which I'm working on. I believe, and we all know, information apps are boring. It's only glorified form of leaflets. So, the app which I'm working on, 10% of the app is going to be information about how the NHS works, GP, role of a GP, how to go to hospital, when to go to A&E and all the rest of it. Remaining 90% is going to be a community platform. What I mean by that is, imagine a PPG, which is an online platform of the most disadvantaged people. Now, this will what the 90% will look like. So it will have information about Facebook, Twitter, it will be all pulled together. Migrants can ask each other questions and all the rest of it. Now, because you see, migrants who come to this country, they usually are fit and well. And the only time they access healthcare is if they have got an immediate health condition or if they've got children. Also, coming to England is quite confusing as well. I have to tell you a couple of stories. When I first arrived in England, in India, if you're doing well, in Bombay, for example, poor people, I was poor in India, but not anymore because I live in England. So, for Indian standards, doing well. So, in India, they eat biscuits. And I thought, okay, I was in England, I made it in life. I thought, I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to eat biscuits. And that's what I did. I went to Asda for the first time. I thought, I made it. I've done it in life. I'm going to go and eat biscuits. I want to celebrate. So I went down the biscuit aisle. Now that's the biscuit you buy in India. They're like 5 rupees. That's like 5p. So I went down the biscuit aisle. I looked at biscuits. And, you know, like any migrant does, you look at a biscuit packet at £1, 10 pence. You multiply that into rupees. And it was like nearly 110 rupees exchange rate, you see. And I was thinking, whoa, this is a bit expensive. I got to find a cheaper way. I got to find a bargain. So I went down another aisle. And there it was. 5 kilos of it, and I bought the whole bag. And I walked to the till, and the lady looked at me, and she knew I was new, and she was being very polite, and she asked me, "What dog have you got, sir?" and I said, you see, I was like on the phone to India, guys, you won't believe, dogs eat biscuits in this country. But the other extreme, The other extreme is I went to B&Q for the first time and I wanted to buy a bucket because I wanted to keep water because I thought there won't be water in the tap just in case. The water is still in the tap. So I went to B&Q and I wandered off in the garden section and there it was, for sale. I could not believe it. I stopped the person who was selling it and I said, is that for sale? And the lady said, yes, would you like to buy one? I said, no, do I look like I will buy one? Do you know what they were selling? Stones. and I was on the phone to India, I said, guys, I'm going to be a millionaire. They sell stones in this country. So, just before I move on, so as you can imagine, it's very confusing. When you come to a new country, it's very, very confusing. You don't know simple things which we take for granted. What I would like you to do is just 30 seconds, just think about what questions people who come to this country may have to ask. 30 seconds. Or you may want to just scribble them. What questions? We talk to a lot of migrants, refugees, and these are the questions they would like to know. No mention of GP, no mention of health, because what they need is how they can talk to each other. Now, the patient participation groups which we have got is a similar concept, but here, it's an online platform. Now, I want to give you another task. Backstroke swimmers. How do they know if they have reached the end of the swimming pool? How would they know? Any answers? Pardon? Touching is too late, because they're swimming fast, they might hit their head.
Flags above the line.
Okay, that's a good answer. But flags are not for Olympic swimming pools. They are for that is a right answer, but it's usually for sort of indoor swimming pools or children partying and all the rest of it. That is correct. That's experience as well. There is one other way, which I'll tell you how this ties in. I want to pay tribute to, I don't know whether you've been aware, Dame Zaha Hadid. She was one of the migrants. She was one of the world's best architecture. And she introduced this concept. So, backstroke swimmers, one way they can find out is if they can look at the roof, whether they have reached the end. Now, Dame Zaha Hadid, she proposed this structure. She said, I would like to build this structure. This was on a canvas, and it is built in real now. And people said, no, it can't work. It can't work because you can't have a round roof, but a flat structure where the swimmers can see. Now, you see, traditionally, if you see, architects and engineers, if you go historically, they were similar skills. They were the same people. But as time has gone, the role has changed. What that means is, the vision of an architect is not seen by an engineer. An engineer is limited to facts, figures, statistics, and that's what I call the system, where the commissioning, where fundings are made. Vision of an architect is they are not limited. They can visualize anything. And when they come up with a concept, they have to find a way to work with an engineer. So when this was proposed, it was not something the engineers understood, but it was possible. And I will tell you just in the next couple of slides how this tie in with the app, because the way I see it, frontline health professionals or people who are here, you are like the architects. You are the people who have the vision. You are the people who see how best things can be. But at the same time, you are up against a system who are engineers who are limited. They say, well, you have got all these great visions, but we only fund for this, we only fund for that. We need statistics, we need facts and figures. So, the app which I'm working on, I'll show you the home screen. So, the reason of those couple of slides before was the 10% is going to be this. The 90%, we don't know what that shape that's going to take. Could be this, which defies all laws of engineering. Or it could be this. So, my request to you guys, folks, is during lunchtime, if there are organizations, people, individuals who would like to help, get involved. And I'm at a very sort of close point of actually starting the building of the app. And if you can please come and talk to me, express your interest, I can explain how we can move forward and how organizations or individuals can get involved and make this app a reality. Any questions?